that is being organized by the Kwara State NCS chapter. We welcome you all. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. The topic under discussion today, 30th December 2024, is about enhancing the Nigeria Startup Act, policy, growth, and opportunity. A lot of our speakers will be bringing insights to this particular topic. My name is Dr. Ikeola Surat Olatinwo. I'm the PRO2 of the chapter. I will also be today's moderator for the webinar. First and foremost, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking your precious time to join us this afternoon. We have attendees within Nigeria and our colleagues in diaspora, especially NCS members all over the world. We are thrilled to have such a diverse and engaged group. We welcome you all. Also, this particular webinar is live streaming on our social media handles, Facebook, LinkedIn, and others. Before we begin, I'd like to briefly welcome our distinguished NCS National President, Dr. Muhammad Siraju Aliyu. Welcome, sir. Our Zonal Coordinator, Mr. Bayo Mohammed Onimode. Welcome, sir. And Engineer Taufik Abdulkareem, that doubled as the NCS Kwara State Chapter Chairman and our honorable host of today's webinar. Welcome, sir. As I rightly said before now, that the topic under discussion is enhancing the Nigeria Startup Act, policy, growth, and opportunity. This is how can we exploit the Nigeria Startup Act, which is a significant development aimed at boosting the economic digital innovation ecosystem. This particular act has been signed into law since 2022, and we seek to improve the economic capacity to adopt the digital innovation for growth. Some of its key objectives are so numerous, but to mention a few, is about digital innovation ecosystem, startup funding, the national digital innovations in terms of entrepreneurship and other policy that has to do with the National Digital Innovation, Entrepreneurship and Startup Policy, NDIESP. Also, in the aspect of regulatory environment, that's the overall Nigeria Startup Act presents a significant opportunity for the growth, innovations, and entrepreneurship, as I rightly said. So in addition, I warmly welcome all our guest speakers for today. We have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Temi Kolawole, the MD, Ilorin Innovation Hub. He is our first speaker. The second speaker, Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye, the CEO, Founders Hub. And lastly, Mrs. Memunat Mazuma, the Regional Ecosystem Coordinator, North Central for United Nations Development Program. You are all welcome. We welcome you dearly. So one of our speakers has already joined online. I can see you. Welcome, sir. Mr. Temi Kolawole, you are welcome, sir. So having said that, we also leave time for question and answer after their discussions. So, but before we start, I will have to welcome all our attendees. One way or the other, wherever you are linking up with us, you are all dearly welcome. So before I proceed, the first on the agenda today is the welcome address by our engineer Taufik Abdulkareem, the chairman, NCS Kwara State chapter. I will welcome him. He is also online now. He's going to talk to us within the next 5 minutes. Engineer, sir, hand over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr.
Hello, sir. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Mrs. Olatinwo, our PRO and moderator for today's program. Thank you, everyone who is currently present. We are still expecting more people to join us. I want to welcome, it's a pleasure to welcome everybody here from the National President of NCS, Dr. Muhammad Siraju Aliyu, the Zonal Coordinator of NCS, Mr. Mohammed Onimide, and most especially exceptional lineup of speakers, Mr. Temi Kolawole, the MD of Ilorin Innovation Hub, Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye, the CEO of Founders Hub, amongst many other portfolios he holds. We'll be hearing more about them, and Mrs. Memunat Manzuma. So you are all welcome. I also want to welcome other members of NCS and those who are also not members of NCS who have joined us this afternoon. We appreciate the presence of our speakers, like I said earlier. Your contributions today will provide valuable guidance on how to maximize the potential of this important legislation. Like you mentioned earlier, we are here to discuss the Nigerian Startup Act and how it can unlock growth and opportunities for our startup ecosystem. The theme of the webinar, Harnessing the Nigerian Startup Act, Policy Growth and Opportunities, is both relevant and timely. Startups play a vital role in driving innovation, creating jobs, and boosting economic growth. The Nigerian Startup Act represents a significant step towards creating an environment where startups can thrive by addressing challenges such as access to funding, skill development, and regulatory bottlenecks. During this session, next 1.5 hours, we will be hearing insights on key issues such as the policy implication of the Act, strategies for scaling startups, and how we can prepare Nigerian startups for global competition in the digital economy. We are pleased that, we've carefully selected our panelists. Someone has government experience. Another person has a couple of startups he has started. And Mrs. Menzuma she has experience with startups and also working with an international organization. So during this session, we are insights into key issues as policy implication of the Act, strategies for scaling startups, and how we can prepare Nigerian startups for global competition in the digital economy. I encourage everyone here, startup founders, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and others to fully engage in discussions and make the most of this opportunity to learn and network. As the chairman of the Kwara State chapter of Nigerian Society, I'm proud of the work we're doing to promote technology development and innovation. And this webinar is one of our activities. We've had one a couple of months ago, and we have several other activities which I would not want to bore you with because of the time. To those who are not yet members of the NCS, especially our panelists, I warmly invite you to join us. I know the MD of Innovation Hub has made that intention already by filling our form. We hope the other two will also join us, and other people who are listening who are not members of the NCS. Membership provides access to a vibrant community of professionals, opportunities for personal and professional growth, and a platform to contribute to the development of the tech industry in Nigeria. Together, we can achieve even greater heights. As we move forward, let us think about how we can take lessons from today's events and turn them into practical actions that will strengthen our startups and create a thriving tech ecosystem in Kwara and Nigeria at large. Once again, I welcome you all and thank you for being a part of this event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my honorable chairman. Thank you so much, Engineer Taufik Abdulkarim. You are welcome on board, sir. So having said that, thank you for this brief speech and concise. So the next on our agenda today is the NCS president to have his opening remarks. That's Dr. Muhammad Siraju Aliu, but I've not seen him online yet. But if he's online, maybe using another user ID or name, please. Sir, you are welcome on board, sir.
He's not with us yet, so we can move to the next. Once he's in, we'll probably just take him then.
All right, very good, sir. Thank you so much. To save our time and to move forward, the next on the agenda now is the section 1. That our great speaker will be Mr. Temi Kolawole, the MD Ilorin Innovation Hub. He will be talking about the policy implications of the Nigeria Startup Act. But before he starts the speech, let me briefly introduce Mr. Temi Kolawole to you. You might have known him, and some of us are even conversant with him very well. But notwithstanding, let me briefly introduce him. Mr. Temi Kolawole is a software engineering and tech enthusiast with a BSc in computer engineering, founded anti-graffiti delivery solutions to organizations like the Temi Elumile Foundation, ECOWAS, and the European Union. He held roles in the Kwara State government and now serves as the managing director of the Ilorin Innovation Hub, driving digital skills programs and empowering scalable startups. Mr. Temi takes pride in being a full-stack developer, adapting to emerging technologies with ease. His achievements garnered recognitions, earning him the distinctions of being a Future Award alumni with multiple nominations for best use of technology. However, Mr. Temi was honored with a nominated numerously for African Entrepreneur of the Year in 2012. Driven by his visions and missions to effect a transformative change through technology, Mr. Temi also transitioned from consulting to assuming various roles within the Kwara State government. So notably, he had all positions in revenue administrations and served as an advisor to the government. Currently, he serves as the managing director of the Ilorin Innovation Hub, as I rightly said, a distinguished technology center focused on local problem solving and global value creation. In his capacity, Mr. Temi also concentrated on conducting digital and IT skills, learning programs, and fostering development of scalable startups in Ilorin. Mr. Temi, you are most welcome, sir. Mr. Temi Kolawole, sir, you are welcome. Hello, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Yes, thank you very much.
You are most welcome,
Happy
sir.
to be here.
As we welcome Mr.
Do I
Temi
go
in,
ahead?
you will be discussing about the policy implementations of implications of the Nigerian Startup Act. Policy implications of the Nigerian Startup Act. You can have the floor, sir. You are most welcome.
Thank you very much. Apologies.
In progress.
I was trying to see if I could join on a second device. But I think I'll just go ahead here with my phone. All right, so can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you vividly, sir.
Yes, we can.
All right, that's very good. So good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here. I'm happy to be in the presence of a lot of people from our state and beyond who are passionate about startups, about technology, and the opportunities that it can create for us. So I will just give a bit of history about what efforts have been made so far. There's ongoing efforts to domesticate the National Nigerian Startup Act into a state-level law. First of all, I think I'll have to explain why this is being done. I'm sure we are all aware that our country, Nigeria, is a big country. We have 36 states and the FCT, and it was decided that one law having to work for the entire country might not work because different parts of the country have different intricacies and every area or state is unique on its own. So therefore, that was the reason why all states have been encouraged to domesticate the Startup Act. Now, in domesticating the Startup Act, it's not like states are going to duplicate all the laws that were passed or the same law that was passed at the federal level. No. The purpose of the domestication, I think, is to bring the Startup Act down to the level where it can actually work for each locale, each environment, each state by adding and including unique, should I say, features to the law that cater to people in that unique environment. So there's been a few engagements that have been done because obviously the first thing to do is to engage stakeholders. There have been two stakeholder engagements. Actually, the first one was an effort made by some private sector firms, Ingressive Capital, and I think Kwara Build. There was one session on the Startup Act in Kwara State with them. And then after that, when the Nigeria Startup Startup Act Secretariat was set up, we had another stakeholder engagement. But not long after that, we had the elections, and I'm sure you know how things are when there's a change in government, a change in administration. The National Secretariat of the Startup Act was basically, I don't want to say dissolved, but it wasn't properly carried over to the new administration that we are in. So the states cannot pass the law, but there's no actual support, because the purpose of the secretariat was to offer support and guidance to the states as they are working on their individual laws. But at this point, in Kwara State, we are still going to go ahead with our Startup Act domestication, and by the grace of God, the law will be passed sometime next year in 2025, hopefully in the earlier part of the year. So why exactly do we have this law, and why is the government involved? I'm sure you people are thinking, why do we need a Startup Act or law when startups are already doing the best that they can, and they're already creating amazing things out of Nigeria? But if you look at it, if all of these different things are happening without much government involvement or intervention with regards to policy and a conducive environment, we can only imagine far and how well our startups can do if the government puts its weight behind them. And as part of a bigger agenda in the country right now, there's a push to create a lot more jobs. We have so many young people that are unemployed, looking for jobs or engaging in things that are not exactly helping the society, and if all these young people and youth can be properly engaged, given the right skills and tools to be able to see beyond just sharing their CV to their uncles and friends and desperately looking for a job. Most young people looking for a job are not looking for a job out of passion or interest. They're just looking for any job they can do to make money and survive. And that's not sustainable. We need more people to be able to create new business ventures, new companies. And companies are not just on paper. Companies employ labor. They create jobs. They create more opportunities for more people. So we need more people to take that bold step and start companies, obvious technology companies. But I'm sure we all know that in the world we are in today, no matter what sector of business you are conducting, you need to use technology. Your business would most likely do better as a technology-driven business. So that's why there's a huge correlation now. When you hear Startup Act, everybody's thinking tech, 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 but it's not limited to just tech. Any new venture that is started, there's obviously the different criteria that are being used to label a company as a startup. So first of all, a startup has to be it has to be less than a certain number of years old. You can't have a company that or go over some of that. So let me just do two parts of this conversation after what the Startup Act exactly is for and what it's trying to achieve. I think the first part is the actual structure, because it's easy to talk about a law, but what exactly is inside the law? Many of us do not know. So very first thing I'll go into is what exactly is in this law. I'm happy to tell everyone here that the Kwara State government actually already has a draft of the Kwara Startup Law in the works. And, what we really just need is to finish up the law, and I will explain some of that better. But some of the components in the law are obviously these are more or less recommendations. So the federal government, based on the National Startup Act, has provided a template for states to follow, which we don't have to adhere to completely, but we have to tailor it in our states. So first of all, the Startup Act Secretariat required for each state to set up what's called a state startup administration board. So that might not necessarily be termed that in that exact phrase, but basically each state needs a body, an entity that will be responsible for administration of the Startup Act and law and all other activities within the states. And this entity will have a board to have so it's like a state level secretariat. The law also encourages states to create a startup fund. So a startup fund is something that would benefit qualifying startups. So there will be a fund put in place where the federal government, several, one of which is the IDICE program, will be funding startups across the country. And each state having its own startup fund is a requirement and part of the law. So once we pass our law in Kwara State, that will also come with a startup fund, and we will have to assign a startup fund. So the way the fund will work is so many different people, including the states, can put funds together, and then those funds will be shared in batches to startups via different programs. So this year, maybe 50 startups can get funding. Next year, maybe another 50. I'm not sure how much will be involved on how many people will benefit, but I know that there'll be funding for startups. Labeling, obviously, the law will designate how we label a startup. I mentioned earlier that a startup has to be younger than a certain age. Basically, the government is encouraging new ventures. This is not for old ventures or a way to revive or encourage new startups. That all covers talent development. So activities be involve these startups, exactly how to start their company, how to run a business. There'll be a lot of capacity building, and there'll be a lot of partnerships with academic institutions. So academic research institutions can be used for things that startups will need. So, for example, feasibility studies. We don't expect startups to go out there themselves to conduct surveys. These can be done in partnership with some of our universities, like Kwara University of Ilorin. There's also some benefits with relation to might be and
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Hello.
Can hear him.
I think we've lost Mr. Kolawole. I can't hear him again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay. Welcome back, sir. Welcome, sir.
Apologies, I'm not sure how that happened. I thought it was network, but I think I got muted. So I think the last thing I said, what was the last thing that anybody heard me say?
We are still talking about the partnership with academics.
All right, very good. So yes. So financial and fiscal incentives also, apart from partnership with the academic institution, startups will be able to get tax incentives. So any startup in Kwara State will have a relationship with KWIRS, where KWIRS is not going after some of our startups under the law or the act. Sorry, can somebody please mute there? I think there's some noise coming from somebody on the call. Can you please mute, please? All right. So there will be financial incentives to startups to have access to certain loans. And I'm also aware that the Bank of Industry is also getting involved along with the AFDB in putting funds together for startups all over the country. Also in the law is provision for collaboration with regulators. So, for example, if you're a fintech startup now, we're going to ensure that there's collaboration with the necessary regulatory bodies like CBN, like EFCC or whoever, to ensure that our startups are compliant. Then there will also be accelerator programs and incubation programs. So in Kwara State, some of those will happen at the Ilorin Innovation Hub, where there will be programs for startups to have incubation and acceleration, which is basically intensive, fast-paced learning and coaching startup founders on how to run their business. So that still falls under capacity building. But beyond capacity building, incubation and acceleration takes you through a step-by-step process of exactly how to run your business, how to enter the market, how to know exactly what your product market fit is, and so many other things that startup founders can learn. Then there's also provision for innovation hubs in the Startup Act. So the Startup Act is not just for startups alone. It's also for innovation hubs and innovation parks to benefit from this. So there'll be provisions for things that would also benefit hubs beyond just startups. There'll be establishment of technology development zones, clusters, and innovation parks. We so far are only involved with a hub in Kwara State, but I'm aware that the state government is going to be looking at establishing more hubs in other parts of the state, both the north and the south, later in the future, as well as potential technology parks. But personally, I'm very, very pessimistic when it comes to people wanting to start technology parks or innovation parks, because I know how much effort it takes within our government structure today to even create one hub. When you now say you want to create an entire city, I don't think it's as feasible as starting with one hub and then growing slowly. So I wouldn't recommend, in my own role, I would not recommend that the parks. Some states have been going on ambitious ventures where they're saying they want to be the Silicon Valley of Africa, creating a technology park. It's very, very much easier said than done. But I believe in our state, we're going to build and get to that level in the right time. So that's about everything on the structure of the law itself and what it does. So it's supposed to create an environment where it's easier for startups to grow. And that first few years is very critical in any business. Your first 2 to 3 years, which will be covered under the Startup Act, will have so many benefits that startups who enroll with the startup activities, the Startup Act activities, will be able to benefit from. So apart from the law, I think the next thing is now, why exactly is this happening? I'm sure I've mentioned some of that, but the goal at the end of the day is to empower our startups, make sure that they can stand next to startups anywhere else in the world. We're not trying to create local Kwara State companies. We're looking to create global startups. And we all know how the world works. You can work remote. It's a global village. Companies can exist anywhere and penetrate any other markets via the digital space today. So it's very exciting. I'm very eager. Once the new year comes in, we'll be attempting to complete the draft of the law. But I think the major things that are left for the Startup Act here in Kwara State at the moment is how to actually, the benefits to give the startup. So how much tax incentives are we giving? How much loans or funding or empowerment are we giving? That is what is being deliberated upon at the state level within government right now. And once that is done, it will be passed to the House of Assembly, the Kwara State House of Assembly. And hopefully within the first quarter, latest second quarter, there should be a Kwara State startup law, a fully functional Kwara State startup law. So thank you very much, everyone. Beyond the law, I think for me, to wrap up, what I have to say is that there's a lot of opportunity coming into Kwara State, especially through the Ilorin Innovation Hub. Beyond the government's efforts, we have private partnerships and non-governmental partnerships that are also going to bring so many benefits into the state for startups. So right now, my advice for anybody who has been contemplating or thinking whether or not he wants to start a business, just start whatever idea it is that you have. You don't have to let go of whatever you're doing. You don't have to quit your job. But if you have any idea that you believe in here in Kwara State, I think the time is now to start putting it together, because once we get into the new year, we're going to have some programs that startups will be able to apply to. And there's also a level of readiness that you need to have to encouraging everybody right now to who is an aspiring startup founder or an aspiring entrepreneur to get back to the drawing board right now. Start putting all your stuff together, make sure that your product is ready. And then once all these activities come in the new year, we're hoping that we will all be able to benefit from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. We've really enjoyed your speech. So brief and concise. Thank you so much, Mr. Kolawole Temi. Thank you once again. From what Mr. Kolawole has said, there won't be much time to wrap up and summarize all he has said, but this particular webinar, you have the program recorded, so the presentation of some of their to be sent in the next 24 hours. Please kindly mute your mic, Mr. Abdulkadri Sakaria, please. So we'll be sending the slides or the presentations to all the registered members of this attendees of this webinar in the next 24 hours by God's grace. So just to minimize our time, we are moving on to the second section. That's our second speaker. Thank you, Mr. Temi Kolawole. We really enjoy your speech. Thank you so much. You've given an insight to what the Startup Act is all about. How those, nursing the idea can start up in due time. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate. The second section will be going into scaling startup under the Acts, and this will be anchored by Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye, the CEO of Founders Hub. Let me give you his bibliography shortly before he will take up the speech. Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye is an associate member of the British Computer Society, a graduate of the Enterprise Development Center of the Lagos Business School. He finished as a computer technologist from Yaba College of Technology and a member of the Chartered IT Professional with the British Computer Society. He has 15 years experience as an IT consultant and 10 years experience running a ZLab system, a software development company. He is also the CEO of the Founder Hub, Co-Squared, and Top Up Box. He is the board chair of Kwara Entrepreneur and Innovator Support Network. He is also the director of partnerships at the Arewa Founders and Innovators Network. Also, he is a founding of members of ISN. We welcome Mr. Adekeye on board. Welcome, sir. Mr. Adekeye, welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I would stand on existing protocol. Thank you, the organizers, the chairman of Kwara State and Nigerian Computer Society Kwara chapter, the president, and also my the first speaker, my chief, Mr. Temi Kolawole. He did an excellent insight into what the Act is all about. So basically, my responsibility here is to look from the angle of startups. And I would want to start that from the provision of the law itself. There are 11 provisions and sometimes actually summarizing to 9. The interesting thing and what is so fascinating about this law is that out of the 11 or 9, 8 of them is actually focused on startups, which means this law is actually focused on actually creating opportunities for innovation, for growth. So the first on the list actually that concerns startups, or maybe I should just make the entire 11 list and then we then focus on the areas. So the first is the Council of Digital Innovation, just like Mr. Temi said, where there is a board or an entity responsible for governizing the law and implementation and all that. The second that actually concern the startup, which is the Startup Support and Engagement Portal. Some of us might have missed this, but we probably also might have seen it, which is the startup.gov.ng. That's the portal the entity brought together so that people can actually register their startups so that they can be enlisted under this law by provision of this, then you will be they can proceed to the next on the provision, which is startup labeling. So there are conditions put together for them to be able to label startups so that there won't be that lacuna about is it a startup or is it a business, a small business. So there are guiding principles which I'm going to get to that allows a business that register under this law to be identified as a startup. Then we have the Startup Innovation Seed Fund, which Mr. Temi already mentioned. I'm speaking in context of the national, which I believe most states are also going to be replicating and domesticating, basically. So the seed fund, which has to do with funding. Then the next provision is the training and capacity development. So I believe that is focused on not assuming that those startups are ready, but actually providing opportunities for them to grow, to learn and upskill and optimize their capacity. Then the next is the tax and fiscal incentives, which Mr. Temi also mentioned at the state level. So at the national level, by virtue of you being able to qualify as labeled as a startup, then you might be able to have access to some of these incentives. And then the next is regulation support, which also affects the startups. He mentioned, being able to speak to regulatory bodies. So at the national level, we're looking at all regulatory agencies in a way that they can make ease of doing business for the startups that are selected or labeled. And then we're looking at accelerators and incubators, sorry. So the Startup Act is also making provision to work with existing ESOs or probably create other ESOs in a way where they can collaborate with them and be able to drive home the impact they're about to create. And the last on the list, just like Mr. Temi also mentioned, was the clusters, innovation parks, technology development zones, and such. Under these, there are a lot of bodies involved. Innovation Park will be within a technology development zone, just like we have in Lagos. I think they have this center where we have the data. I've forgotten what that stuff is called, but basically they're making provision for centers or parks like that or zones like that can actually fall under the benefits of this. So these are what are the provisions provided by the NSA Act. And as a result of that, for me, based on the task given to me, we're going to be focusing on the part that as it affects startups. So first and foremost, like I mentioned, is the portal. The portal is actually, as I said earlier, which is startup.gov.ng. For those of us who have not heard about it, please let's visit. It's a platform that has already been activated, I think mid-year or early the year, for startups to start enlisting so that they could review and find if they fall under the startup labeling. And what are the functions of this portal? Is to facilitate the issuance of permit or license to a labeled startup. So while registration is going on right now, the next thing that we're going to start looking at is for you to be labeled as a startup. It's not enough for you to just start a business. If you qualify based on registration on the platform, then they would issue you a permit to operate as a startup. And there are provisions and conditions for that, which, by engaging the platform, we're going to get to know. Okay, so there's a provision on the same platform that allows for interaction within all stakeholders, which include the government, private institutions, angel investors, venture caps, incubator, accelerator, and other stuff like that. So you have access to varieties of stakeholders you can engage with. Then we have the creation opportunity for the benefit of startup, which include the programs. So apart from interacting with existing or other stakeholders, the platform is also going to be making available their programs that includes either competitions, showcases, accelerator programs, fellowship, or all classes of benefit focused on startups. And then it will also go ahead to foster access to finance for startups, other information, innovation, and generally the global market. What the platform is also going to do is also exchange between stakeholders. This exchange in this case might be technology exchange, might be information, and a couple of other things like that. And most importantly, access to resources, assistance for startups to be able to get labeled, and clearance and approval for other ease of doing business opportunities that will be created. So in the angle of regulatory, the startup acts might be able to bring together ease of doing business processes between maybe the CAC, the CBN, and other regulatory agencies, and bring this solution together down into the portal that makes it a one-click all for a startup to be able to access. That is not currently there, but that are part of the provision they are looking at, so that it makes it easy for a startup to sign up, get registered, get all the necessary regulatory approvals there in the platform, and so on and so forth like that generally. So the next on that benefits the startup is also the Startup Consultative Forum. So under the Consultative Forum, the access for this is a forum where it includes all stakeholders as mentioned earlier. And what this forum includes are, okay, I already mentioned a few of them, which are relevant incentives for people, for startups to be able to apply. The nomination of representation to the council, which is the initial body, the council that we mentioned earlier. There are scenarios where startups, based on participation, based on attainment, based on capacity, might actually get nominated to be part of the council, given that the council has provision from government, provision from ESOs, provisions from startup themselves, so that policy exchange can be easy and improvements can go on from there. And for this forum, those that are meant to be stakeholders there that can be nominated are, number one, the labeled startups. After a startup has actually applied and qualified to be labeled as a startup, then we have the venture caps, we have the angel investors, we have the Nigerian Computer Society, we have incubators, accelerators, and other innovation parks, basically. So I won't be talking about the secretariat. I think that is not the concern of the startup focus of what we're talking. Then I'll be talking about startup labeling. So what are the eligibility to be labeled for a startup? We're looking at one, a company that is registered as a limited liability company under the Companies and Allied Matters Act. Also, we're looking at its objects are innovation, development, production, improvement, commercialization of digital technology innovation product or process. So these are the conditions that qualifies a business to be a startup or to be labeled as a startup. And it holds a repository of product or process of digital technology, or is the owner or author of a registered software. So those are the other conditions. Then it has at least one Nigerian as a founder or co-founder. So looking at the local content, I guess that is why the last clause has actually been added, where you don't just come here and say you qualify for all of these because you registered in Nigeria, and then all owners are just foreign-based, white, all that. So they want it to be that there must be either a founder or a co-founder who is a Nigerian in that startup. So these are the conditions for labeling. Then we go to the startup investment seed fund. So this seed fund is available for labeled startup as qualified in the labeling procedure I just mentioned. Then there's a provision of early stage finance for recommended labeled startup. And then there are relief to technology laboratories, the ESOs, some of them, they kind of get some level of relief. So what does this mean? Innovation parks, incubation centers, accelerator centers, startup hubs, they will also benefit from this startup investment seed fund. This fund is being managed by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. So that fund, once it is put together by the secretariat, that fund at the federal level is actually being managed by the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. That's where the fund is going to be coming from. And then how they're going to go about bringing our funds together, I believe that will be stated, but not here. And so those are the people that would have access to it. The startups that are labeled, they get access to funding. Also for early stage, maybe the reason why they divided this is that we have some that are already in operation that need to scale for expansion. And then we have those that are at the early stage level. So they don't want to just say startups, because at the end of the day, in terms of traction, in terms of support, those who get the large chunk of the funds might be those who are already in operation. However, if this funds does not get to early stage, which is the stage where they needed resource more for them to prove their market product fit, then they might not actually even make it to be a startup. So I believe that's why that was separated. And then the ESOs, or the innovation centers that are actually, so these funds are going to be split in those 3 areas. So the next thing it entails startups actually is the training, capacity development, and sort. So the act is looking at designing and implementing training capacity programs for startups in partnership with some of these innovation centers, innovation parks, using the portal to convey information, a series of modules, seminars, workshops, in partnership with the National University Commission and also the academias. So we're looking at universities and the likes like that, looking at establishing startups from some of these institutions, and also establishing a digital technology training centers in all the 6 political zones. Issuing a framework for talent development, probably a curriculum and the likes like that across also. So those are some of the things they're looking at from the act, from the angle of capacity and training development generally. So for accelerators, there are going to be guidelines for accelerators for them to be duly labeled as well. Just like startups are labeled, we need to be able to then be sure that who are those that are, recognized as accelerator. What are the conditions? What are the eligibility for them to be able to do that? So those are some of the things they're looking at. So in summary, what this act has actually come to do is to speak to our yearnings as innovators in the ecosystem, that one, most of our ideas needs to get to the market. And so by so doing, all ideas, all innovators are going to be supported by this law to then comply with the eligibility requirements to be identified, to be labeled as a startups. Once we're able to comply with that and doing registration through the portal provided by the NSA, then we will then start having access to informations, opportunities that encourages us to grow capacity in terms of training and the likes, in terms of participation in programs like Hackathon, some of which will be organized directly from the digital, what's this body again? Which is ONDI. So, and then some of it in collaboration with some of the existing hubs, which also are going to be restructured in compliance with what is expected to be able to drive the kind of innovation we need in the country. The goal for this in the country is for us to be able to, one, create an enabling environment for startups, for people to dream. As an innovator, that should, once this hack gets executed and is being implemented, the fear of, oh, I have an idea and that's where it's going to stop is going to be no more. You have an opportunity to put your idea either from the academia perspective or from the private sector perspective and put it out there for it to compete healthily with other startups. And this opportunity is being done through the channels that I've mentioned earlier. And by virtue of that, you can test the waters, build your capacity, have access to seed funds, this which is going to be made available. But just like we know, it's going to be highly competitive. However, that is the essence of innovation. You need to bring your differentials. You need to bring your unique value proposition. Why should it be you and all that? And then this will actually create a very healthy environment for innovation to thrive in our country, Nigeria. So for me, I'm being hopeful that with full implementation of stuff like this, we're going to start seeing greater and more startups that are focusing on tier 1 issues in our society, not just for the sake of starting a startups, but focusing primarily on how to bring solutions to the numerous problems we have as people, the numerous problems we have as a country, and to be able to solve this and create prosperity for the country. I think that's about it. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Adeke. Thank you. We really benefit from your wall of knowledge and wisdom. Thank you. This is actually an eye-opener to some of us about this Startup Act that is something beneficial, and we can always Google and go to the portal to register, make our innovations labeled, and there are funds there to be accessed. So from what he has said so far, I won't recap again. A lot of questions have been coming in that they need your presentations, Mr. Temi, Kolawole, and Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye. Likewise, our last speaker too. So, and I've promised them that in the next 24 hours, they will get it via their email. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye. We've really tapped from your well of knowledge. Before now, actually, some of us have been hearing about the startup, but now a lot of people will have gained one thing or the other this evening about what the Startup Act is all about, what it entails, what are the procedure, the best practices that we can, follow to be able to access and be participated in this. Mentioning the academic area, I feel delighted and as if I've won visa lottery this evening, that most of our researches that were left on paper can be put to reality. When you have such, we can just bring it to limelight, in which a lot of solutions, technological solutions and the rest can actually be also solved. Thank you so much. Thank you. A lot of our attendees might contact you after this webinar. They have a lot of things to ask. So thank you. We welcome you once again. Thank you so much. Having said that, we are going to the next section to be able to maximize our time, as I said. So we are going to the section 3 now, and our speaker is Mrs. Memunat Mezuma, the Regional Ecosystem Coordinator, North Central United Nations Development Program, UNDP. She will also talk about the future of work, preparing startup for a global digital economies. You can see from what Mr. Kolawole said and Mr. Adekeye, this startup is going to be of more beneficial to we in the tech world, because virtually 70% of these startups favors us. So let's see how we can prepare for it, how we can set our foot on the line, and how this particular startup can be of beneficial to all of us, especially those of us in the academia. This is our side also now. It's in no time, in no way affect our main primary assignments in the school. So let's see what Mrs. Memunat Mazuma will help us to explain under this. Before she starts, let me briefly give you her own profile. Mrs. Memunat is also an advocate of strategic tech utilization to driving sustainable economy. She has empowered a lot of individuals for career successes and leveraging technology for economic growth. With over 8 years of her experience in community development and collaboration within the tech industry and other sectors, she is dedicated to enabling personal and professional growth, providing resources, mentorship, and skills enhancement opportunity to equip individuals for success. Our goal is to support individual and organization fueling innovations and tech advancements. Let's welcome Mrs. Memunat Mazuma, the Regional Ecosystem Coordinator, North Central United Nations Development Program. You are welcome, madam.
Thank you so much, Ma. Good day, and I'm so happy to be among us. Thank you for the invitation as well.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome.
All right, so I won't be able to say much because the first speaker and the second speaker are, of course, my senior colleagues, and they have given a nice, justice to what it looks like when it comes to startup hacks and also digital economy generally. So based on my topic, preparing startups for a global digital economy. which of course is the future of work. So before I start, we should all know that, or it has come to reality that when it comes to tech or leveraging technology, it has covered all sector, right? So wherever you find yourself, any environment you find yourself, you just see that you are utilizing technology one way or the other. And it is so important we are aware of what we are doing with the technology. We can make use of it, for to create more or better impact or value to the community and, to your personal career as well. So before I go into telling us what are the things we need to prepare as a startup for a global digital economy, I also like us to, have a kind of refresh our mind, right? The way technology is going now, the way things are really evolving around technology, we have seen that hybrid and remote kind of job is now standardized. A lot of organizations, companies are beginning to adopt the hybrid and remote system of work. So it means that wherever you are, so far you have access to the needed equipment to achieve what you want to achieve. You'll be able to do it. You don't really need to be present at the office physically before you can deliver a work or project, right? So a lot of organizations are also looking into investing different ways to make this remote job kind of flexible. They are beginning to look at, okay, the way they work, like their traditional way of working system. Now they are also, transiting into adopting, let me say, sort of cloud first infrastructures or something that will make their work much more flexible and easy for, the growth of the organization. Also, you can see the way things are changing in the ecosystem. There are about quite a number of companies are beginning to adopt or leverage AI to improve their efficiency. Some startups are, leveraging AIs now for stuffs like analytics, engagement, or maybe data pooling or some operations, or if they want to decide on or want to make decision on certain things, they leverage different kind of technology to do this, right? And one important thing is you discover that it's all about skills, right? So it's all about skills. You must have those skills. You must be able to have a open mindset, willing to learn, because technology grows every second. So I don't say every day, like every second, new things change. You must always be ready, the readiness of, adapting to new things in the ecosystem, learning new skills, adding up to what you have before to make a better decision, or, to improve what you are doing now. So now the future of work is more of skills than just having a certificate, right? I usually say that, well, people don't care about how many certificates, but what you have to offer. The certificates will, of course, open the door for you, but what will make you to stay in your job or what you are doing to be successful is that skills you have. So we should start looking at, okay, having that mindset to say, okay, because I'm learning a certain skills, I just want to stick with that. I don't want, even within that stack of the skill set, you can always explore and think of how to leverage other skills. Like every skills in tech is linked together. So you can't say you don't need a particular skills when you are in tech, right? but then you can always leverage different kind of skill sets. We also look at how, the future of workspace is gradually shaping into a global workforce accessibility. What I mean is, you agree with me that some organizations or companies are now looking into, expanding their global talents or finding a way to access a global talents, putting more effort in kind of investing in more collaboration tools, cultivating trainings, making sure that they have a kind of inclusive colleagues or members within the company. So it shows that everybody is going to be carried along. And one beautiful thing I like about this startup heart is it does not leave anybody, behind. So everybody is well carried along. Looking at preparing towards the global digital economy, right? I think first thing we need to look at as toasters or problem solvers, we need to look at possible ways to adopt agile business model, right? A business model that can adapt to market change, a business model that you can easily make different changes in line with what is trending in the market, right? We have a lot of business models that are not really efficient or not really okay for this type of market. So we need to also look at, when we are adopting a business model, what will fit into the market. Like I said, it is not static, it is dynamic. So everything, like every second, things change, so you need to make sure that your startup or your business can sustain the market at any time. So, and couple of times, startups, upcoming startups normally have this kind of issues. After some years, they'll just fall back. They won't be able to scale or grow their business. So it might be issues around, having a proper agile business model. So we look at into this. Then also investing in technology. This is very, very important, right? This is very, very important for business owners, problem solvers, entrepreneurs. When we invest in technology, right, like using technology or leveraging technology to improve the work you are doing, you find it very easy to achieve your goals. You find it very easy to provide that solution, or that you'll be able to solve that problem you are trying to work on. So it is very, very important. Say for instance, as simple as I've seen a very big organizations, right, still doing kind of traditional, like still running a kind of traditional way of work force, like, and suddenly something happened and they almost lost about 60% of their information, right? Assuming if this organization has invested in technology by even maybe creating a cloud storage to keep their files or to keep their information, leveraging on some tools, like CRM or so, they'll be able to still have access to these their informations anytime, anywhere they have, and other more things that they can do using technology to solve their immediate problem. Right. So we should also look at prioritizing the workforce development. This is actually very important. Offering upskilling programs for our staffs, people that we work with, the members of the organization, is actually very, very important. This can be monthly basis, quarterly basis, basis. It can be a seminar, it can be a workshop, it can be something that can serve as, let's say, assignment or tasks for them to, learn something that can, spicy up their work, right? They might be, they might be so busy with the normal ways of doing things, not realizing that, oh, there is a better way or fastest way to make their work done easily, right? So when organizations or startups adopt this by upscaling the members of their organization or their staffs, it will also help in promoting the workforce development in that sector or that organizations. It is also very, very important, like I said, to build a global network, right? So if you are preparing for a global digital economy, you also need to check your network, right? Like what some of my mentors usually say, right? Your network is your net worth, right? So the more your network, the more you expand your network, you can connect or join sort of incubation or accelerations program. You can, just like what Mr. Temi and Mr. Ika said, there are programs that are coming up within the Startup Arts um, initiatives, and also to support, this is also to support startups, in scaling their businesses. This will help you to build a strong global network. So it is very, very important to build a strong global network, looking into how you can join an incubation programs, expansion programs, mentorship programs, or funding, programs to, connect with global organization or global startups also as well, right? So partnership or partnering with experts is also important. So we should also look at our environment, the big guys within us, the organizations that are already doing good, you can partner with them, look at their value, in line with yours, see different ways that you perhaps can partner, collaborate with them to achieve your objective, right? So it is very, very important. We should also look at fostering experimentations, right? As much as we are building stuff, we also need to carry out the experiment, like putting into practice, letting people that want to solve the problem for use it, give us feedback. This will cultivate, or let me say, this will build a culture of learning and innovation, because the problem you are solving is not for you, it's for your users, and you need to listen to them. You need to allow them to use and give reviews, give feedbacks. You need to let them feel the ownership of that solution, so that they can give, their reviews, they can give their insights, and from there you'll be able to, build exact solution that they required. Like I said, sometimes you might be trying to build a solution. Let's say, for instance, you believe that maybe in some communities they need water, right? But when you get there and you are trying to offer them water, they will tell you no, they just need the road to the river. They don't need you to bring the water to them, right? So you need to carry them along, so that this will also help you to cultivate your learning and innovations. Like, you'll be able to think of better ways to solve that problems for them, right? So digital economy is the next is the next is the next gay, right? Is the next big, right? And we just have to adapt, we just have to innovate, we just have to think towards building or leveraging this technology to, grow ourselves or grow whatever thing we are, trying to do. So these are part of the things that the startup art is trying to cover. Of course, as an entrepreneur, as a startup person, we might have some challenges, right? As much as we are trying to leverage this technology, it's not as if maybe they are also cheap. It's kind of expensive, and not all organizations or not all startups that are just coming up can afford all these things. However, we always encourage that you find a way to, learn it within your circle, and also, utilizing that knowledge on whatever you are building, right? So if you want to say some technologies like AI, blockchain, Internet of Things, they might be quite expensive, but of course they are solving problems, and you need to just find a way to incubate or leverage these technologies into your system, right? It's also difficult to see or standing out of a very crowded market, right? Let me say a very competitive market, global market, right? The global market is very, very competitive. But with the coming of the startup art, it is making it very, very easy for us to, go into the global market, and having that unique position for whatever solution we are bringing so far is a scalable solution, right? Also, you might also find it very difficult to also maintain cybersecurity risk, when you have a kind of robust data to protect, it is to ensure all this data are being, secured, it is a little bit expensive, right? So I'm just mentioning some of the challenges that, the startups might face, and also securing talent and funding, right? I don't want to mention a lot of funding and talent, because there are a lot of programs that have been coming up, for talent upskills and also funding, and which has also been helping the ecosystem in a large way. So we more of it will be coming with the involvement of the startup hacks, right? So we have a lot of opportunities that we'll be looking at, when it comes to the global digital economy, right? So first, you need to look at building a global brand. A global brand. You need to leverage digital tools like digital marketing, social media platforms. Build something that stands out. Build a brand that it can be recognized globally, right? And to leverage different technology, to create that awareness, to create that presence within the system, right? It is also good if, using this opportunity to see a way to solve some challenges we might be having. Like I said, we have a lot of decisions to be made when it comes to global digital economy. Oftentimes, we deal with data to make decisions. We review what insights we have on real time. So it's also important that we can utilize some tools like data analytics tools, to see better decisions we can make, when it comes to shaping our startups, or when it comes to providing a quality or good value solution to our users, right? So one thing I also mentioned is securing that good position on a global economy is also to create solutions for global challenge, right? Create solutions that can stand out in the global markets. Solutions around healthcare, education, agriculture, climate change, youth empowerment, renewable energies, robotics, and so, right? These are solutions that can really, really stand out and can drive social impact within the system, right? And of course, you also need to have a niche of the problem you are solving, right? And it has to be a scalable tech solution, right? So when I say scalable tech solution, it has to be something that can be adoptable, something that, is meant for the users, not for yourself, right? So we all need to embrace the future of work, because obviously we can't, like I said, we can't run away from it. We all need to embrace the future of work. We all need to look at different ways that we can leverage technology to cultivate global connections and also prioritizing our workforce development. Startups cannot only adopt to new eras, but also strive within it, right? So as we move forward and we understand that, okay, it's not just adopting innovation, leading, and transformation in this global digital economy. The future actually belongs to us. I said the future belongs to us. We own it. We should utilize it very well and leverage technology to grow, to improve our workspace. I hope with this little point of mine, I've been able to list some key points that we need to look at when it comes to the future of works and some opportunities that we need to look at the global digital economy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Thank you. In fact, you really solve and break down the hindrances, any challenges or futuristic issues that can arise when somebody is trying to prepare startups. Then she has also mentioned a lot of things that cannot be also recap. Then when you get the slide, as I said, you can go through it once again. Everybody have been sending messages that they want your presentations. Likewise, this first speaker, the second speaker too. Thank you so much. She has really brought a brim light to all the challenges, expected challenges, especially for the new startups. So when you are a new startup and you want to fit into the global digital economy, the possible challenges that you might encounter, such as the securing talent and funding, the cyber security attack, or stuff like that. Then she also make, a useful point in trying to give us the insight of which kind of startup can we, drive to in the aspect of our healthcare, the education, the renewable energy, and stuff like that. Thank you so much, Mrs. Memunat Mazuma. We appreciate your effort, we appreciate your contributions, and we hope to call you soonest again to come and give us a very interesting speech as this. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, sir. Ma. Then, having said that, the next on the agenda this evening to save our precious time is the question and answer section. So for this particular question and answer section, to be able to coordinate it very well, since we are also we are online on the social media, please, for those within the Zoom, you can raise your hand, then I'll start calling the name one after the other so as to prevent noisy and crowd. So for the next 20 minutes, we'll take the question and answer section. So as each attendees ask the questions, out of our three speakers, you just mention the person you are directing the question to, either speaker one, Mr. Temi Kolawole, speaker two, Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye, or the last speaker, which is Mrs. Memunat Mazuma, so that they can answer you immediately without wasting time. Please. So for the next 20 minutes, let's just go with the question and answer. Thank you very much, all our three speakers. We really appreciate your effort. We were able to benefit one thing or the other. I personally have, in fact, I've gained more than expected, because initially I was looking at what's startup all about, all this stuff like that. How does it even concerns we in the tech world? I can see it's actually meant for us. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. So let me see the hand, so that I can start calling one after the other. So from the list of participants, I can see Dr. Zakaria Adebayo. Can you unmute, sir, and ask your question? Please, let's make it snappy to save our time, please.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thanks to the organizer. My name is Dr. Bilo Adebayo Zakaria. My question is to Mr. Kolawole.
Okay.
Mr. Kolawole, thanks for meeting you. I just want to ask, because you made mention of an innovative hub, which I know you are the MD, and definitely for an innovative hub, yeah, I think the last journey I have for the past 1 year now at Innovative Hub in Abuja, they actually bring academia who are researchers, technologists, which is the Innovative Hub itself, and investor from the government. These three bodies are very important from translating our idea to a prototype, from prototypes for market entry. So having Innovative Hub in Ilorin now, idea technologists, that people that have prototype can rely on, bring the prototype to Innovative Hub for them to translate it into a bigger one, scale it up. And is the government ready to bring investors to invest in them? Because definitely there are ideas from researchers and from academians, not just paper research. There are many concrete ideas that people already develop into prototypes, and they are waiting for technologists to add on to scale it up. Is there a provision for a lab? Is there a lab? Is there technologies that we can actually use or harness their intelligence to develop our prototype into a real object and prepare it for market entry? And is the government ready to help in patenting and as well as bringing investors into our productions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. This question is directed to Mr. Temi Kolawole. Mr. Temi, please, can you have the floor? Hello, Mr. Temi.
All right, thank you. Yes, I'm here. So, to answer the question, I probably missed the first part. I think I lost network. I think yes, the purpose of the Law Innovation Hub to life. Now, the truth of the matter is that at the end of the day, it is the founder's responsibility. The government is just there to create the environment, to create the enabling environment. Yes, there will be support in different ways, but the full responsibility still relies on the founder. I'm saying this because I'm trying to make it clear. I know a lot of people like relying on government to do everything for you. And the truth of the matter is that there are people succeeding already. There are startups already succeeding without government. So it's not an impossible task. Maybe it's just harder because many of us are in Ilorin or Kwara State, and more opportunities exist in places like Lagos. So it's a bit new to us. But the purpose of the Law Innovation Lab is to have a place where you can come and learn the skills. So if you have an idea, you don't know how to bring your idea to life, you're going to learn the skills you need to bring it to life. Skills that include maybe software development, app development, anything that has to do with the soft tech aspect. Now, looking at physical prototypes too, we're also having, we have a partnership already right now with the UNDP to set up a bigger space, which is basically a hardware, and there will be facilities for developing prototypes, 3D printing, and several
Hello, sir. Hello? Hello, Mr. Temi Kolawole. I guess we've lost him due to network. Hello?
Obviously, it's having a network challenge.
I guess as much. So let's go to the second question. Mr. Aliu Amin. Please kindly unmute and ask your question and let us know the person you are directing the question to, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Aliu Amin.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. Thanks to the organization, to the organizer of the program as well. So I am Aliu Amin, and I am a software engineer and a founder in Diaspora. My question was to be directed to Mr. Temi Kolawole as well, but I think Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye can also take it. I wanted to ask, how can tech enthusiasts in the diaspora discover the programs that is going on in the startup ecosystem in Kwara State specifically? So because from my hand, I get to discover some of these things from mutuals and not directly from the organization. And even sometimes it is already late. That is, the event have already happened. And when I talk to some of tech people in the diaspora as well, a lot of them don't know about all these things. So I don't know if there is any platform that is propagating this, or if there is any easy way to discover these events that are happening.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for your question.
Over to you.
I would want to pick it from where Mr. Temi stopped, to our first speaker and also to our current question. So the Ilorin Innovation Hub is actually working around the makerspace. I think that's where it stopped. They have partnership with
Yes.
the FDP for a makerspace where we have a fab lab and a couple of other things there. So I think the government is actually putting a lot of work into the innovation space, and not only UNDP, there are other partners like the French Embassy and a couple of others. However, like he rightly said, founders are the ones that need to set their goal and focus. The government is putting things in place to create the enabling environment. Each of these programs will be coordinated by partners that collaborate with the government to operate them, and they're going to have their unique requirements and all stuff like that. So we should look at this as from a can-do angle, in a way that we engage with open mind and the intent to actually innovate, rather than the previous perception that is a government thing and it might not work, or probably pessimistic or political about it. This is strictly innovation, and everyone will be given a fair engagement. For the second question, where we are looking at how do we get to know about this? Yes, a couple of all these organizations, especially starting from Ilorin Innovation Hub, they are on the social media platform. However, speaking as the board chair for Kwara and Entrepreneur Innovation Support Network, we are working on a platform where people can actually subscribe for updates of activities happening, not only in Kwara, but Nigeria at large. A lot is happening, and just like you said, you get most of this information from your mutuals. And if those mutuals are also not within the ecosystem, they might not really get some of these things. The just concluded Kwara Build event is a yearly thing that also has been creating opportunities for people. And all these things are also available on social media. However, to bring all this information together, the Kwara Innovation and Entrepreneur and Innovation Support Network, we're working on a newsletter that's actually going to be broadcasting some of this in collaboration with the NCS. I'm also using this medium to talk to academias, where there is a slot for us on the Kwara Entrepreneur Innovation Support Network, where we want to actually bring both the industry, the academia, and the innovators together for us to be able to bring about the change we want in our ecosystem. So the collaboration between the the network in partnership with the MD of Ilorin Innovation Hub, who is also a member and an advisory on the network, is for us to create that environment where there is participation and where we can now serve as an engagement partner to the government. We can't expect the government to do everything. The government also needs our support, also needs our participation. And for us to be able to get there, we need to do a lot of consultation and a lot of engagement for us to actually arrive there. So that's what I can say for now. And I'm sure those information will be made available through the organizers to everyone that participated in this program. And I believe going forward, we should be able to have access to more information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. We really appreciate this.
Sorry,
In
I'm back.
fact, okay. We guess as
Yes.
much that maybe you have a
Yeah,
network
sorry.
challenge. Yeah, don't worry. Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye has
I'm sorry.
really
I'm proud to say that my internet is not this bad in Ilorin. I'm in Lagos right now, so I'm not situated where I'm used to. So the internet here is not within my control.
all right. That's
But I just
understandable.
wanted to just wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to wrap up on what I was saying earlier. So as much as everybody at the Ilorin Innovation Hub as a government thing, as the MD, I think I realized very early that this project would really not work if we leave it in the hands of the government. And I'm speaking as a government official. I can be quoted anywhere, but a state government is not really in the business of running an innovation hub. A state government doesn't necessarily know anything about it. And even if we try to put together the structure within the state government to run an innovation hub, it's going to be subject to so many risks. Like if there's a change in administration and let's say, for example, the new governor of Kwara State doesn't believe in all these our innovation things, the hub will suffer. So the truth of the matter is that it's not even really a government project anymore because we have taken the Ilorin Innovation Hub out of the hands of the Kwara State government. The Kwara State government has stepped back as a main stakeholder, but is handing over the responsibility of running the Ilorin Innovation Hub to our partner, IHS Towers. IHS Towers is a global company. They're one of the biggest telecoms infrastructure companies around. Anytime you see a mast anywhere, MTN or Global, no, it doesn't belong to any of these companies. Most masts belong to infrastructure companies like IHS, and they're now looking into the innovation space. We were able to secure a partnership with them. They are the ones that are going to be paying for all the operation of the Ilorin Innovation Hub over the next 5 years. We're currently looking to extend the partnership to 10 years so that even if things go however they want to go politically in government, nothing is going to affect the Ilorin Innovation Hub's operations as Kwara State government is just stepping back. Yes, the Kwara State government is still taking full credit for everything that happens there. And IHS is also doing it as CSR, not doing it for profit, but because they are also looking to give back to the tech industry. And we were fortunate to be able to secure that partnership. So we are doing everything possible to make sure that you get the conducive environment to bring all your ideas to life, whether software, whether it's an app, whether you want to design a new type of POS machine, maybe you have a new device you are designing that includes that involves electric boards and circuits. There will be a lab where you can come and put all these things together, but it is not the Kwara State government's responsibility to bring anybody's ideas to life. It is up to you, the founder, to use the resources that are being brought to everybody's attention. And yes, thank you, Yinka. We have social media, but I'm sure if anybody here is very interested in what we're discussing today, just keep your ears to the ground. Make sure you stay connected to people within the tech space in our state. And just look out for information. You can follow the Ilorin Innovation Hub on social media. It's Ilorin Hub on all platforms, and you will get to see some of our activities as they unfold. But beyond that, it's more or less creating the environment for you founders to run and fly. Nobody is going to do anything for you. The government is not going to come and tell you, oh, do it like this, don't do it like this. No, we'll teach you everything you need to know. Just like we are all in a state where we know how it is when it comes to the economy, and people are always saying Enugbe. The problem with Enugbe is that if you give somebody food today and they eat today, tomorrow they are hungry again. there's no amount of money I want to give anybody, even if anybody says, oh, I'm begs for money, and you give the person money, they will come back again tomorrow. So instead of just giving people food or giving people, like, we're all there saying, oh, people are suffering, we want to eat. Yes, but how about if you are now taught how to actually eat every day? You are being taught how to do something and put something together that can put food on not just your own table, but the table of your entire family every day. And that's what technology can do. That's what these startups, the potential that they have. When you learn and you grow and you're able to succeed with your business, everybody around you will benefit. And it's not going to be a case of you wanting to look for a job anymore. You're going to become the chairman now. People are going to come and start meeting you for, oh, okay, I need help with this. And you'll be wondering now, a few years ago, I was the one asking for help. Now people are asking me for help. That's the power of technology. That's what this can do to people's lives. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kolawole. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the full and detailed information given. And I believe all our participants today have gained one thing or the other to make the best use of this particular information. Information is power. You can't give what you don't know. Since we've been enlightening this evening, this is an eye-opener, is an insight for people that want to start up. They can actually gain one thing or the other from what our speakers have said. So moving forward, the question and answer for the last participant that has risen up is our hand. Engineer Taufik Abdul Karim, our chairman, asked a question to ask as well. So after him, I will now take the 2 questions sent on the Facebook to us now. Then that will mark the question and answer section, and we can now wrap everything off. Thank you very much. Engineer sir, you can have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, PRO. And thanks to the speakers, even though the PRO one will do the vote of thanks later on. Well, for the person that asked a question about where he can actually follow what is going on in the ecosystem, like others say, you can also follow Nigerian Society Kwara State chapter on Twitter, Facebook, and also on LinkedIn to be aware of events that are ongoing. My first question is to Mrs. Maimuna Mansuba. In what way can UNDP, or in what ways UNDP actually facilitating the growth of startups in North Central, where you are the regional manager? Then my second question is to Mr. Temi Kolawole. Can you give us insights into what has been done or what is going to be done with respect to adaptation of the Startup Acts, in particular considering the fact that a large section of Kwara is rural, especially Kwara North and some parts of Kwara South? Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Engineer. Please, Mrs. Maimunat. Hello, madam, Mrs. Maimunat. I can't see her online again, sir. Please, let Mr. Kolawole take up the second question. Hello?
Okay, thank you. On behalf of Maimunat, I would give you a bit of information about what the UNDP is doing with us. So now, I'm sure you're all aware that the UNDP is a body that is driving to improve development, to improve the quality of lives of people. It's actually called the United Nations Development Program. And they have a budget of money that they spend in countries like Nigeria every year in different sectors, healthcare, education, infrastructure. But now in the world, because of how things are, innovation is now taking a front row. So what innovation we are trying to put together in Kwara State and how the UNDP comes in involves mostly hardware. So because it's a maker space, it's not limited to just that. I'm sure we're going to be part of so many other programs that the UNDP is doing. I know that they have an innovation challenge. There's even so many other innovation challenges that we'll participate in, and people in our ecosystem will be able to benefit from beyond UNDP. There's IDICE, there's BOI, there's so many funding opportunities that we'll be sharing. But with regards to UNDP, they are putting a lab in place, fully equipped. It's not coming at any cost to the Kwara State government. And it's going to be a place where people can come to their physical, tangible hardware ideas to life. So, for example, if you want to design a small robot or you are designing something in robotics, you can come and put your parts together, assemble your products there at the makerspace. There will also be a lot of training programs in robotics, in 3D printing, and similar things. So I think that's the area in which the UNDP is coming in right now. But it's not limited to that, because they are also going to have so many opportunities for other founders that are not doing hardware related. If your idea or your startup is strictly a software platform. And I'll give an example. There's in Ilorin now.
Wow. It seems we've lost Mr. Temi Kolawole again. Okay. Engineer Taufik Abdul Karim. I think with the little one he has said, he has answered the question, almost 70% of the question. We've lost Mr. Temi again.
I'm back. Sorry, I'm back.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so second question, I'll move over to the second question quickly. With regards to the Ilorin Innovation Hub and the areas and in the state and the Startup Act, I know it sounds impossible for the Startup Act to reach some certain rural areas in Nigeria, but the truth of the matter is that we will start where we can, which is in the capital, in Ilorin. We're not forcing now to say we want to go and do anything in any other part of the state just yet, but I'm sure that once things take off in the central part of the state in Ilorin, they will be able to move forward and would gradually move on. Like I mentioned earlier, we're not jumping to start creating technology parks yet. We're starting small from what we're doing with the hub, and we're going to move forward from there and expand to other areas of the state. So, but the way it will work is that for the Startup Act, as long as whatever rural area has internet connectivity, I'm sure they can all participate by registering. We'll have a way in which people in Kwara State will be able to register online as a startup also. It's not going to be limited to just the startup portal at the federal government level, or we'll have some way of working hand in hand with their own portal. So all registrations are able to be done from whatever part of the state, as long as you have an internet connection. And yes, the Ilorin Innovation Hub might be in Ilorin for now, but the goal is to see how we can encourage participation by people from all over until there's a hub in other parts of the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Engineer Taufik Abdul Karim, I think you're satisfied with his question and his explanation. So he has said a lot about how this startup park is going to work within the state, especially starting from Ilorin, then all over to the other local governments in Kwara State. Thank you so much, Mr. Temi Kolawole. We really appreciate your efforts. Now we are moving to some of our questions asked on the Facebook. Actually, they're asking about how they can get this presentation, either in the form of a soft copy, to be sent to them. So I, the moderator, will liaise with the organizers and other ESCOs to get the soft copy of this presentation sent to all the registered members via their email. I think that has solved the question asked on the social media. Thank you so much, our three speakers. We really appreciate your efforts, and God Almighty bless you. So let's go to on our next agenda now. We are going to the closing remark of this webinar today, and it's going to be anchored by the Dr. Amos Bajel, the Vice Chairman, NCS Kwara State Chapter. Dr. Bajel, I've not seen him online. Hello, sir.
Yeah, I don't think Dr. Bajel isn't online. He's not with us.
Mr. Taufik Abiodun Ahmed.
No, before that, can you possibly let Mrs. Obises on the FinSec give us the closing remarks before we have the vote of thanks?
Okay, Mrs. Obises Onwechel Oyewanti, please kindly give us the closing remarks. She is the Financial Secretary of NCS Kwara State Chapter. Mrs. Obises, please, for the closing remarks.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us today for this insightful session on announcing the Nigerian Startup Act, that is on policy, growth, and opportunity. We hope the discussions have shed light on the immense potential of this landmark policy in driving innovation, fostering growth, and unlocking opportunity within Nigeria's startup ecosystem. A special thanks to our esteemed speakers, starting from Mr. Temi Kolawole, Mr. Adeyinka Adekeye, and Mrs. Memunat Mazuma for sharing their experts and perspective. Your contribution have been invaluable in helping us better understand the role of policy in shaping the future of startup in Nigeria. As we conclude, sir and Mas, let's remember that the success of this act depends on collaboration between policymakers, entrepreneurs, and state stakeholders like all of us here today. We encourage you to stay engaged, take action, and continue this conversation beyond this particular session. And in case if you have further question or feedback, please don't hesitate to reach out. We look forward to having you join us at our future event. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Happy New Year in advance. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Obiseson Oluwaranti. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that short closing remarks. So the next on the agenda today is the vote of thanks to be conducted by Mr. Taufik Abiodun Ahmed, PRO1 of NCS Kwara State chapter. Mr. Ahmed, please. Mr. Ahmed, please, can you take up the floor? Hello? Hello? I can see him online. Mr. Ahmed. Hello? In case Mr. Ahmed is not.
Please
Hello?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, in case Mr. Ahmed Taufik Abiodun is not online, I guess it's due to his network. He has been with us since the commencement of this webinar. So I guess it's the network issue. Please, I will appreciate our chairman to, as he started as the opening remarks, please, sir, kindly give us the vote of thanks to all our distinguished speakers, all our participants, and all NCS Kwara State chapter executives and members. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, the PRO. Before going straight to the vote of thanks, I just discovered that we have the Honorable Commissioner of Water Resources, who is also one of us in the profession, Honorable Lade Yunusa Usman. I don't know if you want to, we would like you to give us probably 2 minutes of your time and say something based on what we've discussed. Honorable Commissioner, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Engineer Taufik, please, thank you for the opportunity. I've only come here to observe and listen to the speakers, but now that you have asked me to speak, I think I would only want to commend the speakers for the insightful discussion. I have also been able to at least take a few clues from what they have discussed so far, and I hope that the Kwara State ecosystem would continue to thrive as long as we have people like you piloting the affairs within the ecosystem in the state. And I look forward to more fruitful engagement of this nature in the nearest future. I also want to commend each and every one of us who have been able to make it to today's session. Thank you all and have a lovely night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. You are most welcome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. I want to use the opportunity to thank everybody who has made this program a success. Well, we have to start from the Honorable Commissioner because with him in our presence, we have the governor present here also. I want to further thank the speakers from Mr. Temi Kolawole of the MD of Ilorin Innovation Hub, Mr. Adekeye, the CEO of Founders Hub. He's wearing many caps, but let me limit it to that. And Mrs. Rebecca Mensuma of the UNDP and Kwara Resources. Thank you so much for your time and for giving us insights into the Startup Act and how it can be of benefit to us as individuals and the ecosystem in general. I also want to thank all the ESCO members of the Kwara State chapter, Secretary, Mr. Ayeni, the Vice Chairman, who is present now, and others for making this a success. I also want to recognize I want to recognize the chairman of NIWITS, that's Nigerian Women in IT, Professor Abikoye, the first professor of computer science, first woman professor of computer science in the University of Ilorin. We recognize your presence, and also Dr. Rafiu Mokwe, and so many others from different institutions who are here. I also want to thank some members of the NCS who are not members in Kwara State, who are members from other chapters, particularly Mr. Mohammed Ali. I think he has just left. He's always with us in our programs, even though he's not domiciled in Kwara State. And to all the members and non-members who are present here, I want to say thank you. To the non-members, we want to encourage you to join our society so that we can have more interaction and move our state and country forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time, and may God Almighty bless every one of us. Happy New Year in advance. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir, information, please.
Okay, sir.
The webinar has been recorded, or is being recorded. We are not done yet. We'll be sharing a link for you to download it via your email. It's already recorded on Facebook, so you can rewatch it on Facebook. We'll be uploading also to the NCS website. That's ncskwara.org.ng. So that means you can get it on Facebook. You get it via an email sent to you. A link to the video will also be shared on Twitter and on LinkedIn. So there's no reason why you will not be able to watch this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, sir. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You are joined late.